Okay, morning everyone. No flying in Wales this weekend. I did try, but the weather's been horrendous. So tune in to watch me unbox my new helicopter. Roll the intro. Okay, yeah, morning. Welcome to Ian's RC Exploits hangar, and what I'm doing today is unboxing my new Align Trex Dominator 500X. I decided to get the new 500. There it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start unboxing it, and I'm going to lay the things out. I've never done a Helie unboxing before. A few people have expressed a bit of interest in what's involved in building a helicopter kit, so hopefully this will give a little bit of an insight. As yet it's unopened, so turn it around the right way. Okay, so there you see, this is just the receipt, wicked. So they've obviously opened it up to put a few free gifts inside and then sealed it back up. So as you can see, we've got main blades, frame set, and then we've got just on top, this one is going to be using the Micro Beast Plus. So that's the first thing. So I'm going to just pop that to one side. Go into a little bit of detail about that in a minute. So I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the frame set. So I'm going to open it up just so as you can experience what you see when you open up a Trex helicopter the first time. Right, that's just that it's an official UK product and quality control signed off. And then so basically the way it works with these helicopters is they stuff everything inside the Trex canopy, so we'll get that out and have a look. So yeah, much bigger than the old 500, quite sleek actually. One thing I found strange was this blue, yellow, green and white. And yet all the aluminium on the Helie is red, so I know that from watching other people's videos. So we'll just get that there, and then we'll just make a start. Now I'm not going to take things out of the bags because they've got corresponding numbers that coincide with the instructions, but there you can see that we've got the carbon fibre mainframes. So I'll pop them down. Always lovely quality, the carbon fibre mainframes. And then what I wanted to explain was there, right, we've got the main shaft and the head, and it's all put together when it comes from the factory, and the swash plate, but none of this is thread locked. So when you get these helicopters, although it looks like it's already built for you, it's not. It needs to be stripped down, degreased. I always degrease everything in alcohol, and then clean everything then with rags to get all the oil and stuff they use for when they're manufacturing all these aluminium parts. So like I say, we've got the main shaft, the head mechanism with all the thrust bearings, and everything then needs to be re-greased, thread locked and put back together correctly. So there we go. That's the swash plates and the main the head, the rotor head. Okay, we got a little bit of a sundries bag, so you always get your blade holders with T-Rex, and you get thread lock, tie wraps, and pretty much most of the stuff you're going to need, you know, when you're putting the thing together. It looks like there's also sort of like push rods in there as well. So, you know, you can see that there's quite a bit to it. Okay, the landing skids. And as I said, I'm not going to take anything out of the bags because it's all marked to coincide with each step of the instruction manual. So nice strong landing skids, very similar to the ones on my original Trex 500, but these ones are angled forward now, so the Helie is going to be a lot more low profile. So yeah, here's the landing skids. Then we've got all the main gear and the one-way bearing and the pulley for the tail belt, and then we've got bearings for the main shaft. So basically you've got your main frames and all these bearings and aluminium pieces fit inside the main plates, obviously for your main shaft to go through, and then you've got your drive gear and your pulley for your belt and numerous other sort of like the motor pinion and lots of other sort of like standoff plates to go inside the main frame, and all the red aluminium parts as well that go on the exterior of the main frames, just to brace parts and to make it look very, very nice. Very similar actually to my Trex 470 LP. This didn't come with the LP. I bought this metal kit and fitted it after, but as you can see, each one of these plates has got the fixing screws in. They need to be taken out, cleaned, and then when they're put back together, then everything needs to be thread locked. So, you know, there is an awful lot of work involved in building a helicopter. And then what we've got there is we've got basically with the new 500X, the tail boom goes into this tail section, and it's got adjustment screws so as you can get a good tension on the main belt, which goes from the main gear through to the tail shaft, and that's what gives you your tail drive. So that's your drive belt, and then this is almost in a way it's just like a tail tensioner unit. It's got little pulleys and you tighten the screws and they adjust wheels to put tension or to release the tension on the tail belt. So there's all the parts that come in with the canopy. Just move the bubble wrap. Okay, now this bag, this is the actual tail unit again, where your tail blades fix. It's all built at the factory, but again it needs to be taken apart, cleaned, degreased, and then put back together then using thread lock. Any screw that goes into metal or aluminium needs to be thread locked, so all this will have to be done. Your bearings oiled, and you've got your horizontal stabilizer and your vertical stabilizer as well, because obviously you get those on a helicopter. So it's a lot of work. This tail shaft there's thrust races inside there, and they need to be put together correctly. There's no joke, because you know it's where all the forces from the tail are going through these thrust race bearings, and it's the same with the main rotor head as well. So I really take my time and try to put all this together correctly. And as I said, you know, it is a massive undertaking really when you build a heli. There really is a lot to it. So they're all the parts that came inside the canopy. So the next thing I'm going to open up, just move this out of the way. Oh, forgetting. Okay, your instruction manual. Trex 500 Dominator. And Align are pretty good actually. Their instruction manuals are normally fantastic, and they take you through a step-by-step then guide of putting the heli together, telling you where to thread lock, telling you where to oil, telling you where to grease, and so on. One of the big jobs is when you put the two main frames together, you've got to make sure that it's all sort of like square, because then the drive shaft has got to slide in with sort of like no tightness. If it's restricted anywhere, then you slacken the one side of the frame off and just keep adjusting it until your main shaft slides in nice and smoothly. So, you know, there really is an awful lot to it, and that's why I have mentioned doing a build video, but from past experience I know that there's so much involved when you put a helicopter together. So, okay, let's move on to, there we go, we got the electronic devices, or electronic device, and what comes in this. Okay, so straight away, right, we've got the speed controller, and I know that it's, I've got the specs written out, so I will tell you now. Okay, it's an 80 amp, a BL80X brushless ESC, and it can do 6 volt or 8 volt depending on what servos you're running, and I know the servos in this kit are high voltage, so that's the ESC. And I'm just looking now and I can see that I thought it came with a battery connector, but it hasn't got a connector on there, so that'll be a bit of a solving job for myself. Okay, we've got the motor, and it's a big lump of a thing, and that is, the motor is 3527 size. It's a 520MX brushless motor, and it's 1600 kV. So this helicopter is designed to run on a 6S, the recommended battery is 6S 3300 milliamp hours. So it's going to be quite a powerful helicopter, but you can see, you know, it's a big lump of a thing there, much bigger than what was in the original Trex 500. And then we've got, okay, so basically what it's going to come with is going to come with 3 cyclic servos which do the swash plates, and they are the red ones. So we've got 3 of the red servos, which are DS530 high voltage brushless servos, so they can run on 6 volt or 8 volt. And then we've got the one which is the tail, tail servo, or people call it the rudder servo, and that is a DS535 high voltage brushless, and they are metal geared as well, metal geared digital servos. So it comes with a nice bit of kit really. So there's the servos for the kit. Okay, and then the last thing in the box then are your main blades. I'm going to slide those out. So we've got not just the main blades, we've got the tail boom and the tail boom supports and the tail servo linkage rod, which links the servo to the tail mechanism. So it looks like it's all carbon fibre. The tail boom is aluminium, and yeah, that's standard really. That's pretty much the same as what was on the Trex 470LP. And then, okay, and in this packet we've got the 2 carbon fibre main blades, and I'll just quickly go through the sides of those because I've prepared it. So, okay, if I just tell you the specs of the helicopter. So the length of the helicopter when it's completed, that's from the tip of the nose to the end of the tail, is 935 millimeters, and that's 36.81 inches. The main blade length, so each one of those blades is 470 millimeters, and that's 18.50 inches. And when they're put together then, on obviously with head mechanism in between, the main rotor diameter is 1054 millimeters, or 1 meter 54 millimeters, and that's 41.50 inches. So it's not far off a 4 foot rotor size, the diameter, so that's a bit bigger than the original T-Rex. So yeah, we've got the Trex 500 down there, and if we just compare, you can see how much bigger in size those new main blades are. So there's probably about, they're 3 inches bigger and possibly about an inch wider as well. So you know, this thing is going to be very, very powerful. Okay, so there we go. So you can see just from the parts just in their bags there, it doesn't look a lot, but when you think that each individual bag has got to be taken apart and degreased and then put back together correctly with thread lock, you know, it is quite a big undertaking. Not something I take lightly, because I've built quite a few heli kits now and it is quite time consuming. And to talk about the setup process, just as I like to give people, you know, an idea of if they're going to start building a heli kit, what I've brought to show is the Micro Beast Plus manual that you can download online, and what we've got there is a step-by-step guide to setting up each stage of the Micro Beast Plus. So you can see from that and how complicated it looks, you know, what is involved. It really is. I mean, once you've done one, it does get easier, but it's so long now since I built the Trex 470. I mean, I'm going to have to use this to go through each stage of the setup. So, you know, I'm not going to take this build lightly. This is going to take me quite a few number of weeks probably, just doing bits when I can. So yeah, there it all is, the contents of the box. Unfortunately now I've got to put it all back in and get it all back inside, so it's ready for when I start to undertake the build. So yeah, there it is, my new Trex Dominator 500X. If Cheryl just wants to just zoom in to the canopy just to finish off. And you know, I hope it's given everybody that watches the channel a little bit of an insight, because you know, I very often go and fly a helicopter that I say, oh, you know, I built this back a couple of years ago, and each one I've built, and I've built so far the 500, I've built the 600, I've built the 470, I've built a 450 which is inside the NYPD police helicopter up there, and I've also built a Hirobo Shuttle Plus 2, which was my first nitro powered helicopter. So
and the vintage one you
yeah, but I didn't really build that. You know, I bought it and just restored it basically. So I wouldn't say I built it, I restored it and it flew. So yeah, there you go. The 500 and the 330S and that's under the table. So there you go. That's it. That's a helicopter kit unboxing. So as I've said, I don't know whether I will be doing maybe just videos of how the build is going, because I'm not really set up for doing a full-on build video, and I think I would swear too much anyway, putting the complexity of one of these helicopters together. And of course then once it's built, it's got to be set up, and you've got to get, you know, you've got to use pitch gauges and everything to set all your angles up on the main blades. And you know, it really is like time consuming. You've got to get all your swash plate level with a leveling tool, make sure everything's correct before you even start putting your pitch curves and throttle curves into the radio. But hopefully one day in the future we'll see this one just take off and go up into the air like all the other helis I've built. So there you go. Right, so from the hangar and from the unboxing and from myself and Cheryl, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be able to fly, and we'll see you next week. Bye then.
Bye.